I'd love to then know, why did you stop teaching kids?
Well, that is so why I like teaching kids and why I stopped teaching kids are intimately connected. So one of
Yeah.
the biggest issues with running kids classes or developing a program for children are the parents. The parents often thrust their expectation of what a child is, what a child should do,
Mm,
how they should behave, and they put it not only on the kid, but they put it on the teacher who's teaching the kids, who may or may not be an expert in what they do. So you don't know. You're gonna a mixed bag, but parents are definitely not experts on how kids learn and what kids should be doing. But they all think they are because it's their kid. And
mm,
so I think that's probably one of the most poisonous things to kids program. And in my time teaching kids, that always sat at the center for me and bothered me quite a bit. Um,
mm,
so over the years, when I got my own school and ran my own kids program, I loved it. I had 5 to 7s, I had 8 to 12s. It was my favorite thing to teach because I'd done it for so long, I was so comfortable. But because I focused a lot on competition for my adults and parents got to know my school as a competitive school, they started to bring that attitude here with their children. And the whole thing was I don't teach competitive kids. I don't believe in it. If kids want to go out and compete, that's fun. It should be a fun day where their friends go out, they have matches, they have ice cream afterwards, win, lose, draw, everyone hugs, everyone goes home. And that wasn't what was happening. Parents were wanting their kid to travel and spend all this money, and they're screaming at their kids on the mat. And the kids are stressed and they're crying. And I wanted nothing to do with that. So
mm.
it was actually a young lady in my program who actually was in the adult program who experienced some severe abuse from one of her parents that really, that was it for me. Like it was so severe, I just couldn't really handle it. And I decided during COVID, I'm just not going to restart the kids program. I'm gonna put that to the side for now, and I'm gonna focus on the adults. And so it's like a mix of things, but mostly the poisonous expectations of parents killed it for me.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. And that is, I think, when I put like anything on Instagram, like a poll or something to look for, like, what do you find challenging as a coach? The number one thing is parents. The number one thing is every time, how do you mitigate the expectations that parents have of how a class should look or how the teaching should occur? And it's kind of like, how, yeah. How can you have that expectation when you don't even train yourself? Actually, I have to say the parents that train themselves are almost worse because they have their adult expectation of how jiu-jitsu should look, and
Mhm.
then they push that onto their child, and I think that that's something that's really hard. So did you find a way to try and mitigate that? Or like,
Yeah,
I know some gyms don't even let parents in the gym. Some parents, like some gyms do certain things, but I
yeah.
personally don't have an answer.
So there's a couple of things. I mean, I've done something myself, but also one of the best kids coaches in the world is Donald Aiknick, Master Donnie from Lloyd's program. He's been teaching kids his whole life. He has the most comprehensive, connected, healthy kids program I've ever been around. And he actually made parents sign waivers that once they walked through the door, they could not speak to their children unless their child was hurt or something else. Like you couldn't talk to your kids on the mat, you couldn't discipline your kids on the mat, nothing like this. Like once they came in, they could sit there and watch. But if they were going to get noisy and yell at their kids, they had to go out in the car and wait.
Mm,
And because of the environment he's in a little bit of a tough environment. The parent's a little more aggressive than a typical parent. So that was something he had to face a lot. But with developing the appropriate culture and, of course, getting parents to buy in through signing of the waiver seemed to help quite a bit. For me, I had a similar rule. I didn't make my kids program wasn't as large. I only had about 40 kids. So I used to just tell the parents, look, if you speak to them, I'm going to ask you to go outside. So just
yeah.
unless they're hurt, I'll send them to you. You can comfort them. But when they're here, they're learning from me, not you. And that's pretty much it. And that worked relatively well. But it just got too much for me to handle both developing, building a school, teaching all my classes, developing a competitive adult program, then also developing a healthy kids program. It was just too
Mm.
much. It was too much for me. I couldn't handle it by myself.
Yeah, you can only wear so many hats. And when you're trying to, I think, running a business as well, and that's why I see a lot of, business or gym owners, they kind of give somebody else and they give that blue belt the kids program because they can't handle it themselves because they're trying to handle the adults and they're trying to handle all these things and it just becomes too much it's too much to be able to do.
It's very
Um,
tough. I wear all my hats here. I literally teach every class. I do all my finance stuff. I do everything. And so after 10 years of doing everything, it's like, man, it's pretty exhausting.
yeah. Man, after 10 years, I'm exhausted after a year and a half. So well done to getting into 10 years.
Yeah. But you're still smiling and happy. You're not jaded and cynical yet. So hopefully it doesn't happen to you.
It's actually really funny. We have like a group chat with like different gym owners from everywhere. And someone actually just asked something about parents in this group chat. They were trying to get away with not paying for something like that. And I was like, just let them cancel. And then I wrote afterwards, I'm like, yeah, but I'm probably a bit bitter. So maybe don't take my advice.
No, I
Yeah.
think that's good advice because the parent that you have to cater to like that will always be the parent you have to cater to. What you realize is they're eventually they're archetypical parents who come
Mm.
in and they're always the same. No, no matter what they look like, no matter what social economic background they come through, there'll be a parent that complains about everything and tries to nickel and dime everything, and there's nothing you can do with that parent. So it's best to cut that off early.